Now we do tend to occasionally, well most often, record classes for playback and future viewing. So I'll activate a kind of a recorder, and that is a screen and sound recorder, and this goes up on our channel. So let me begin. So, Star Children. Given we are in a state of flux and change in society, and what seems to be very much like a time for shift in consciousness, the new generations that are coming up, and including ours really, and thereafter, are bringing with them something special. And the general idea is that Star Children are those who have been sent from really all parts of the universe through a collective consciousness to help people on Earth to evolve. And they possess psychic, spiritual, and other ESP, extrasensory perception type abilities. And these children are radical, and they will bring peace. They will face authority, topple corrupt systems, and shift the consciousness in the years to come. So they kind of have, like when they're born, certain patterns, which you can, I guess if you're kind of familiar with astrology and things like that, certain patterns and marks in their birth charts, they kind of can indicate this too. And they have kind of like a special assignment of some form to assist with this kind of movement. The kind of categories that are popular and fairly well known in this area are the ones you would have heard of before are indigo, crystal, and rainbow, and it relates pretty much to their generation that they're born in. And they also, not only being themselves Star Children, they kind of need to have certain parents too to make this happen. And the parents have got to be particularly special also in a way to make them to allow them to develop these natural abilities that they have. So if you're a parent of a child, it seems to be different, and I think all children are in their own way. Your child is here to help you with your progress and your path. And you're one of the lucky people to bring one of these people into this world and to help the planet. So these particular children are very willing to take on the world and learn about it, and they're extremely curious. And as they get older, they'll start to emanate much more of this kind of like, shall we say, transformational energy and force, and with integrity. And in a way, they will seem kind of a bit beyond their years. Now, everyone here, we're all children once too, and we also are falling into some of these brackets ourselves. So we dug around when me and Venus were looking at this class to prepare some resources, and we've come across loads of different quizzes actually. I was trying to find one quiz which had it all in it if I could. So I've got here a quiz you can do, and I'm going to just post it into main chat in a second. And with this quiz, it will take you, I reckon, about 10 minutes to complete this quiz. And what I'd like you to do is to just sort of shout back in when you finish the quiz, obviously saying you've completed it, but also to just maybe share with us what your kind of quiz came up with. And when I did it, I came out as indigo. So let's find out where you're all at on this. Maybe we can relate to it a bit. And certainly you can sit with your kids and you can do this too if your children are the ones you're here for today. So here it comes now. And once you've done the quiz, we're going to get a feel for who's around the circle today and kind of the difference we have. And then Venus will talk a bit about different types and what they are in more detail. So just a moment. So here's the quiz in main chat now. Allowing, I reckon, about 10 minutes to complete this. And if you finish it, just sort of come back with I finished and this is who I am and why I am. Okay, over to you. Okay, so hopefully you've done the survey or you're near to finishing it, and I can see the ones who finished it so far have come back with a mixture of things, which is great. I think as you're going through the questions, you might have realised, found some kind of like familiarity with the things it was asking. I was particularly curious to see how it mentioned some of the what are classified as learning difficulties, cognitive issues such as ADD, ADHD, and autism come up. And this is something obviously of great controversy in a way, because where children are displaying such kind of like ideas or tendencies, they can end up being classified with what is a kind of a form of disorder, and can end up being medicated with that condition to manage the symptoms, of course, but it sort of maybe indicates that something lies deeper beneath the surface with that, and harmonizing with it could sort of bring or nurture a much more, a freer upbringing for the child, and opportunity for development. So as you're finishing the surveys off, I'm going to just hand over to Venus now, and she will do the types in more detail, and after that I've got a short documentary for you to watch too. Okay, over to you, Venus. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Venus, for that. Very, very interesting. So let's just do a bit of verbal summary of that. So of those, I mean, the quiz you did a little while back, hopefully you got a chance to read about your own type from what she's shared and in the text chat there. And it seems to be very much about evolution and development. So you have the first group of indigos, which is the first generation, to break down the paradigm of traditional thinking. I think it was something like the 70s to 80s, or like births in the first one. There's a kind of like an age range for some of these. I'm not sure someone's got that to hand. And then once the paradigm's broken down, the crystal children then build the foundation on the broken paradigm. And then the rainbow children continue to build on what the indigo and crystal children began. And that's what leads us to now. And so in the future, who knows what comes next. So just a few moments to reflect on this. Anyone got any comments on doing the quiz themselves and what's been explained here, and any kind of comments around that? Give you a few minutes just to feedback in chat, and voice would be great if you wish to share in voice. Otherwise you can do so in the main text chat there. Most certainly is. Yes, please. I'd really encourage it if you could, actually. Yes.
All right. No problem. I just wanted to make sure.
Right.
Mine says I'm an indigo child, and after reading the description, I have to say I would have to agree with it, simply from the standpoint that, well, I fall into the birth range, for one thing. I was born in 1988, so around that time. And beyond that, it says everything else seems to line up with, how do I put this? They've been trying to diagnose me with some form of autism for about, I want to say 13 years. And the problem is they can't figure out what I have. So from that standpoint as well, it would seem apparent to me that it's not actually an autistic kind of state. But and I'm very inquisitive all the time. I'm always analyzing something. I'm always asking why, and that's one of the key points in being an indigo child. So I'm glad I found this test. Thank you. It's very interesting, and it helped me learn a little bit more about myself.
No, I really appreciate you sharing that, Avinran. Just wanted to ask you about, in terms of what you do in your sort of daily life, or kind of the things you're involved with. Are you in some way a shaker and a changer of some form?
Yes, but I don't think it's a convention. Well, what is conventional? I'm on Second Life very often, and when I'm not, it actually just depends on where I am. But wherever I am, I try and just I try and bring a sort of a light to people, a sense of relief, or that things are going to be okay, that kind of thing. And it doesn't matter if I'm in Second Life, it doesn't matter if I'm in real life. I just try and I try and be empathic wherever I go, in the sense that I can be of some help to other people. That's what I do. Just try and make their day a little better.
Well, that's great, Avinran. We could do with your help around here,
Oh my, I've heard that before. and actually I do have to say, in regards to what Venus, excuse me, what Venus said about indigo children having some tempers at times. That's what's funny. I never really get angry, but when I do, it's kind of bad. So I tend to isolate myself when that happens, so to speak. So perhaps that's another trait.
But you contain it well.
Oh yes, in fact, people never know I'm angry, even when I am. But it says indigo children have been discovered around 1984, and that was 4 years before I was born. So it seems to be a perfect fit, I would say.
Sounds like you're in the zone with indigo.
I hope so.
That's great. And a lot of us are born in the 70s and 80s, I think, around the circle. So we're going to be likely to be in that
Oh,
in the indigo range.
yeah.
It's great to see you're acting out your kind of like your alignment, should we say? Yeah.
Well, well, no. People don't need to run from me when I'm angry. Basically, well, maybe they do, but the key factor I've been able to put into it is that if I'm really angry about something, I turn off my phone, I don't go online, and I don't talk to anybody. I just kind of meditate because I figure it's better to do that than to antagonize and ruin other people's lives, not lives, days, simply because I am in a bad mood. And even if even if there was someone else involved that made me in a bad mood, I don't say anything to that person. I just kind of dismiss it as okay, that's just the way they are, that kind of thing. But I do always know if I'm being manipulated too, or lied to, or that kind of thing. So, well, like I said, all seems to be a fit.
No, that's a really great way of handling and managing it, really, because you can shut yourself off and process it.
Well, I should tell you it took me mm, about it took me over a decade to be able to get to this point, I should say. So it was not a overnight thing.
No, brilliant. I'm just reading some of the main chat here, and I can see Neelam is saying she's also showing indigo here, and um, has also picked up some of those things. And if anyone else would like to comment in either chat or main, please feel free to do so. I've got a minute or two still for that to go. I'm very interested to hear about it. Yes, Neelam, go ahead, please. I'll read out in voice what you're saying. Oh dear, sorry to hear that. I have that problem. You know, it's not uncommon at the moment. There's more than sufficient energy around right now. We'd like to know if you think the world is really changing, Neelam. That's what you're asking. And the Pachuma says change is the only constant. Do I think the world is changing? Yes, I think it is changing. I think it's also about change is constant, but change is very much internal. So I guess depending on your viewpoint, but if you're working with change in yourself in some way, then you are going to see it happening outside of you as well. Did they make a difference? I mean, I think you need to look at probably the inventions that have been created by people who have been born in that generation and the sorts of things that they brought to the world in a positive way. I see. Well, yeah, I guess connection. You're saying that you've lost some of your connection. I mean, it's just about needing a bit initially. It's connection with yourself, isn't it, to begin with? It's trying to work out who you are and lining that up. And, you know, although we may be, should we say, brackets, older indigo, we can still work with transforming ourselves and affecting that outwards. I think that's what Avonram was saying, how he's managed to do that.
Neelam, do you think that would you say that you're disappointed with the world or with people? Well, the reason I ask is because uh, essentially How do I put this? There's always an opposite to everything. That I know for sure. So, but people tend to focus overly on the negative of humanity. I would say it's all over the media, it's all over the news, and it's all people tend to focus on at times. So, if I could maybe just suggest, maybe if you get into that state of mind where you're thinking that the system of humanity is kind of dark and morbid, I would suggest just finding and reading about, or just acknowledging that there's always an opposite to everything so diversely. There's an opposite to dark aspects of humanity. There are good aspects of humanity, like I think I don't know exactly when it became implemented or when it became more aware, but there's a phrase called "paying it forward." I think, yeah, that's it. And it's kind of odd because I've noticed that as time has gone by, at least in my lifetime, that's become a major thing for people. What it essentially is random acts of kindness to strangers, and what they call it paying it forward because they feel as though if they're living by example, by showing a stranger that yes, people can be good. Hopefully that'll continue to move forward like a wave. If you cause a ripple, it'll continue to spread. That kind of thing. I'm not saying that the dark aspects of humanity don't exist, because they definitely do. But I'm hoping that at some point in time that it's not so prevalent in society. Maybe it won't even happen in my lifetime. In fact, I'm kind of doubting that it will, but there's always the hope.
That's great, Evan. I think in the case of looking at it in a more wider view, everything is in a state of evolution, and so you have to have diversity for that to take place, and these interconnections knock onto each other, and influence happens that way. It takes time, surely.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is how there's all new kinds of stuff out there right now. Oh, as an indigo, you just feel tired. Yeah, I can relate to that actually quite a bit. It's just a matter of recharging, finding a good way of how to rejuvenate or regenerate yourself. And again, like I said, it wasn't an easy thing for me to learn, but I also find it intriguing how, like I was saying, in recent years, very recent years, there seems to be a lot of new things that a lot of people would never have guessed would have been implemented so soon. Like, there's a good example. Like, gay marriage is now legal throughout the entire country of the United States. Yeah. Many people thought that would never happen so soon.
Step forward.
Yeah, and like, what was the other thing I was thinking of? Oh yeah, a lot of people are referring to what is it? There's another example. Sorry, I seem to be using a lot of LGBT examples, but Facebook alone has 51 new gender orientations.
Wow.
And in that regard, I think that people are they're more realizing that, well, what is gender? Because labels in of themselves, I think, for people and things are very limiting. Like, some people say, "Oh, this person is so brave. They're so adventurous for doing all this stuff. They're and they're not afraid." And what I would say to that is, yes, but they're not brave. They're not adventurous. They're just themselves. That you don't have to. If you put a label on someone like that, you're essentially comparing yourself to them, or comparing them against what's considered the norm or normality. And for instance, if someone were to put labels on me, I'm sure they would be along the lines of, they'd call me a male, a guy, because I'm a male. Yeah. They would call me blonde-haired, blue-eyed, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but unfortunately, when people do that, whether they realize it or not, they're putting together a kind of a puzzle in their head based on preconceived notions of what that means to them. For instance, if someone describe me as being blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and male, they might, in their head, go back to, okay, well, I know their ancestry. That means I know what some of their tendencies might be. And in reality, that's not the case. I mean,
yeah, sure.
People are not defined by their ancestry. It's kind of a antiquated concept, to be honest. But sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, it's good, Evan. Thank you. Appreciate it. This is about categorization of a concept we have of labeling things all the time. And in the space of consciousness, there's nothing to label. But once we start going into form and matter, then things become diverse, and then the mind likes to try to associate things with other things, just the way the mind works. And so one has to go through unraveling layers and layers of the conditioned mind, of actually, well, first unraveling one's own conditioning with themselves, and then unraveling the conditioning of their relationship with other people. And it seems like you've gone a long step of the way to doing that, so Neelam wanted to share some example, which is fine. Please feel free to do so. I'm going to just quickly look up this video I'm going to share with you and find it in the background. I think you're showing some kind of suggesting a reflection of things going on there with others and you. Okay, so folks, what I'll do is I'm going to share this video now. It's about 7 to 8 minutes long, and you can keep talking in main as you feel free to. And here's the link. It's on YouTube. It's part of a playlist I put together. How other people are actually, who treated you weird, they themselves were doing exactly the same thing. This video is called The New Children, Indigo Children, Crystal Children, and it lasts about, look at this on here, 8 minutes or so. So you can run this in the background now, and feel free to watch it. You can do split screen or watch it in the background or foreground, as you wish.
And I felt like this energy, I don't know, it was something very weird. He started putting pressure with his 3 fingers on my back, and the temperature started changing from cold to warm. It was incredible. In 5 minutes, all the pain that I had was gone.
According to research presented in August 2005 by the University of Chicago, children born in the beginning of the 1980s are showing 2 newly identified genes. These 2 genes, called microcephalin and ASPM, are thought to regulate brain growth and appear to have undergone strong natural selection since the human and chimpanzee lineages split between 5 million and 7 million years ago.
So folks, I think by now you might have been approaching the end of the video or have seen it already, and just a few comments in the main chat, reflections of what they saw. I thought it was really interesting hearing those kids talk about it themselves, and a lot of them are teenagers, and also hearing about the scientific side of it too, and then some commentary about the educational system not being fit for purpose for coping with this influx. So that kind of brings us to the sort of end of the session today, and we hope that was of value to you and of interest. We tend to run our sessions every Friday at the same time, about 5:30ish SLT if technology is working, and we'd look forward to seeing you again soon. Bit of information, we have a website. I want to just bring up the link, remind myself what it is again, and just bring it up. There's some information on there about what we do. We're going to do some work on updating it soon, and there's a blog being developed at the moment, so there's a link for it there. And there is if you wish to leave some feedback for us, you can do so there's a link on that page, or you can say it in main chat. And keep an eye out for us. We will post out messages. I do believe I should actually make a little mini announcement. I think we have got a class coming up on Monday night here at 5, which is a healing circle on energy healing, which Maya's doing. And if you watch out, I think about 5ish is when we set it for then. and she'll post out. We'll get a notice out about it. So you're welcome to come to that. And this is a regular thing on a Friday. So if you want to come back, if you're welcome to come back and join us. There's always something new happening every week. You can get a feel for the kind of topics we have by looking at that website link. There's a section on classes there, sorts of things that we've talked about, topics. And especially Sam and Van, it was really great to see you two. Hear from these two guys are actually the founders of the amazing Free Spirit Hippie Farm, and that is one place I would really recommend you go and check out, and join up on the group there. We go to some amazing events there that are live performances. They've got a rental place where you can live there on the hippie farm, and we sometimes play there ourselves. You also get lots of interesting, creative ideas that they have over there. So these two guys are really one of our favourite places to go to, and some of our favourite people in SL. So thanks very much, everyone. I'm going to come off voice now, and I hope to see you again soon. Just checked in the library actually, and I realised we have actually got a book in there on it. So yeah, Venus, you've got that. We've got one in there, and I will just get that book out of the inventory and send it around to you all. Save you the trouble. Let's just send that serial there. It's all about indigo children, which most of you were. That's great. There you go. You'll have one now. Thank you very much for donations, everyone. We'll go to a good cause. Good stuff. See you all again soon.